it's very important to recognize that everything is interconnected. Scientists talk about a keystone habit, a habit that once you change it, every other habit becomes easier. My keystone habit was sleep. So I've obviously studied the phenomenon of sleep, and it's very clear that unless you have a genetic mutation, about 1 to 1.5% of the population is a genetic mutation, and they don't need a lot of sleep. There may be some of you here. If it's your boss or your spouse, you're in a little bit of trouble. You need to figure it out. But the vast majority of us need 7 to 9 hours to be fully recharged. I'm an 8-hour girl. And for 95% of my life, I get it. It means making some sacrifices. I mean, last night, by the time I got back, I would have loved to go out to dinner with all the thrivers that are here, whom I haven't seen for a long time. But instead, I had a hot shower and went to sleep because I wanted to be fresh for you here today, and I wanted to enjoy today. I've spent so many days in my life dragging myself through everything. And we can all do that. Like, we can all be transactional. We can all get stuff done. But it's more and more important for me, not just to be productive, but to find joy in what I'm doing. Joy is key. I think it's one of our cultural values. One of the things that COVID did for us is to remind us that death is a reality. As the Onion headline put it, death rate holds steady at 100%. If we're lucky, we have 30,000 days to play the game of life. So for me, getting stuff done is no longer enough. Yeah. Enjoying what I'm doing is also important. That's also when I'm at my best. That's when I'm more creative, more empathetic, more grateful for the blessings in my life. So as a result, by prioritizing sleep, I find that it's easier to manage my food. When I'm sleep deprived, I crave sugars and bad carbs. When I'm sleep deprived, I'm more reactive. I'm less empathetic. And that's when I move more into negative bias. Negative bias is when you look at the future, and right now the future is incredibly uncertain, and imagine the worst. The French philosopher Montaigne said, there were many terrible things in my life, but most of them never happened. But when you look at the future and imagine the worst things happening, your body takes that in as though they've actually happened. So it's really important to manage the thoughts we hold in our head, and it's much harder when we're exhausted. That's why on the Thrive app, we bring together sleep and the 60-second resets, food, movement. We don't call it exercise, we call it movement. Just get up from your desk and walk for 5 minutes. That makes a difference. It doesn't have to be go to the gym for an hour. Then focus, how are we managing our relationship with our phones? That's increasingly important because we're so addicted that at night we think we're relaxing when we're scrolling aimlessly, Instagram or TikTok, or doom scrolling the news and depriving ourselves from rest. And also money, financial stress is a huge source of stress, and finally connection. These are the 6 parts of life, the 6 behaviors, the 6 aspects of how we live our daily life that, when interconnected, lead to the healthiest habits we can build and to a life that involves joy and thriving.